Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Flesh and Blood on a Budget. Last week I couldn't really go to an armory because of some issues. I'm really sorry for that. So I gave a recap episode if someone wants to join the series this late. But the armory before that went 1-1. Not that great, but I had a bye. That's why I was only 1-1. But I reached the finals and sadly lost against Syndra. Honestly, it was the first time I break in the series, I think, at least that hard. But let's see how this week goes. I'm going to be covering a new store for today. So let's see how that goes. Last time was the anniversary from the store we usually play at, and they gave us an extra gem pack. We had this pulse. It's like the 14th century quick pull, I think. Some shiny cards that look nice, but aren't that great. Yeah, nothing special as well. Nothing special in the booster. But maybe this week we can open some Super Slam. Let's see how that goes. We're going to be adding the budget from the week that we can play, since it's honestly realistic that sometimes we don't play than a week. If you're starting the game. And now we're on finally getting rid of the brutal assault, and we're going to be getting the last amnesia. So now our deck is almost complete. We're only missing the Winds of Eternity, and I think that's going to be one of the cards we get for next week. So right now our budget for the pro quest is already complete, and yeah, so now we're just looking to finish some cards we might need. Sadly, there isn't like anything special in Super Slam. Like the only card we would probably need would be Overcrowded, and it's a really cool card against assassins. It's like a good against the Codex of Frailty, but it's only a block two, and it's really good if you have like other aura tokens. But we can't like really generate any aura tokens, so it depends more on our opponents. But yeah, let's see you at the armory. So first round today is going to be against Verdance. As we know, we need to stay healthy to avoid getting comboed. Always Respite is pretty good preventing arcane damage, especially in things like Burn and the newly added card Light Up the Leaps. But we need to be really careful about activating our Arcana Scarabs, since Verdance runs 90 reacts on top of mental blocks, meaning there are 12 cards that can be played at reaction speed in order to prevent our extra push and leave us without a weapon. For that case, we need to track where the D-reacts are after the pitch deck, and in second cycle, we're able to freely activate our Arcana Scarabs at any moment. But yeah, see you in the game. But before we go to the game, this is going to be our sideboard against Verdance. I decided to be playing now 90 reacts since Verdance plays a lot of attacks and we need like to stay healthy. Right now I'm running two as respites, but in hindsight I think I should have added the third one since Light Up the Leaps is already a new card and Verdance has like easy access to that, meaning we need like more ways to stop our AB arcane damage, and more as respites are just more ways to prevent arcane damage. So now let's see in the games. Game one start. Um, so Burn starts just healing for life, but I start also healing through life, and in my turn I have a really powerful turn with Sick Vengeance and a Sirens, meaning I also heal for life in my turn. So now we're quits. It's just the floor of being a plow under for two, taking my arsenal away. It's bad for me, but it's only two damage. I just feel confident at this point and just take the damage. And I try to be a little bit cocky since I come with this Vengeance Never Rest. I actually already had like a good play in my hand, so I don't know why I did this. I know that my opponent knows that I know that he knows, so I activate my Arcana Scarabs on my Vengeance Never Rest, even though I already had like a play with the Flying Kick this turn. And my opponent played the Sink Below and sinks one card, and the card he draws is basically the Rootbound card pass, blocking the Vengeance Never Rest, and I just come in with like the 7 for my Flying Kick, but he just blocks it and has a turn. And starting from turn two, I have no weapons, so this is going to be a rough game regarding less of like the nice start. At least silver lining, I drew a Bittering Thorn, so at least I could go like 4 into 7, dealing 11 damage. and still being ahead. My opponent has like light up the leaves, and I drew like a full red hand, so I can't really block anything of that. Especially since I have like now no weapon, I'm not sure like what to do. And the follow up is just like the Berber, pushing even more. Then I have just have like a Cyrus and start like healing a little bit to see what happens. I think I might be able like still to win the game at this point. This would be like a regular match, but then I notice my opponent places like the healing pot on the board, and I just think to myself, oh damn, my opponent is now playing combo, so I don't have enough damage due to my lack of weapon, and now my opponent's playing combo, so he's going to be able to comfortably just block with two cards or three, then plays a potion and pass a turn. So that's going to be pretty bad for me. Now, after my insanely good start and my stupidly throw, I am on a really hard position since I have like no weapon, meaning I get like zero value out of my combos, and my opponent can just buy like all the time he wants. Especially now I'm drawing like a lot of red cards. So that's like a bit troublesome for me since my opponent's just like doing whatever he wants. But now I have like Noise Respite, and those Respites are like pretty good stopping a cane. But like still, I'm not sure what to do at this point since my opponent now pitch stacks like a falling of the crowd and plays a third light up the leaves, and that just chips me even further. I'm just throwing like my combo cards to see if like something sticks, but I'm waiting to have like the cards. My contingency plan being like the Legacy of Ikaru on like a card, and my opponent having no reaction. That's why I throw my neck vengeance and I take like a filling and a plow under, so I'm pretty happy about it. But I'm already like fairly low on life, and I'm not sure if I have like enough damage. I think probably if I just block a little bit more, I would be like in a better spot. But not sure about that exactly. But yeah, I think that I just made like a lot of misplays to be honest in this game. So the game has been actually like pretty boring. It's just me throwing something, my opponent healing. Funny enough, I have taken enough damage, and my opponent has healed enough damage for me like to be able to throw two back to back Scar for Scars plus a Sick Vengeance. But my opponent is always knowingly he knows what to do in that case and just blocks it and denies me my weapon. I try to like to stay healthy and just throw like more things, but my opponent just keeps dropping all these items to heal, like his healing potion and the amulet. And after like even more trades, he just gets like another burn burst that at this point is like the fourth card he plays that deals like that kind of effect. Yeah, it's honestly looking raw since I know he has like eight healing on board. That's like four pings, and on top of like the amp, so he's going to be amping 11, so he's going to be coming for 33 on the last ping after already doing like 7 pings, so he's pushing like 40 damage on like the final turn. So if I have like a full blue hand, it's going to be fine ish, because I'm going to be able to like to block 9 and still be alive, but I'm probably like dead to the Storm Riders since that's like a pretty cool card. You can also see me struggling like this whole game. There's a lot of damage that I couldn't do, simply because I don't have like my weapon. I think it was probably not that relevant since Verdance was like pretty high on life. I think it's more of a problem that we don't have like the top disruption. Like usually, if Verdance gets like a weakest link or something, something of that kind late in the game, where she like the turn before she wants to combo, and then like the turn before she gets fatigued, then like it's like game over since she had like three non blocks in the hand, you know. Or if I get like a CNC and I already got the Crown of Providence beforehand, that's also not cool for Verdance. But yeah, in this case, our only disruption is the Neck Vengeance, and it's not even online when I don't have my weapon. And eventually, with only three cards in deck, Burns is even able to BM block the vengeance never rest, and just to prevent me from getting my weapon back. And after that, Verdance just activates the amulets. I had two blue cards and one red card, but that really wasn't like enough since, as we told, it's like 40 damage. I'm like at 31 damage, so that is more than enough. And yeah, even after the ping, the Verdance also had like an Emeritus calling, so and two blue cards, meaning Burns was also able like to push 7 damage on my turn. So it's a total of 47 damage. And yeah, so in theory, the max we can prevent with that if we have like four reds and a noise respite in Arsenal um would be like 15. So like if we have like 33 life and all the conditions are met, would be like pretty good. But we were at 31, meaning we were just dead. Now we're going to be playing against a hero we haven't played yet, in the form of Dorinthea. So Dorinthea has many playstyles. She can either be playing Dumbblade, Great Axe, or even the Hatchets. But this case is going to be Dumbblade Dorinthea. In that case, we need to block when needed, since we don't want to give Dorinthea many counters, since that way it can just snowball the game out of control, and we need to be playing around certain reactions, being Glint of the Quicksilver, Overpower, Blade Flurry, etc. Meaning, if we play a lot of D-React, it's going to be pretty okay. This is going to be our loadout against Dorinthia. As you can see, it's everything the standard thing, 9 D-Reacts, and our attacks. Yeah, see you in the games. Now round two is against Dorinthia. Dorinthia is a hero we haven't played against it. And in this case, it's going to be Dominant Dorinthia. Um, so I won the die roll, and since it's a tempo-based matchup, I decided Dorinthia to go first. And we got immediately punished because Dorinthia had a Nourishing Emptiness. And after filtering the hand and throwing the Nourishing, I'm just stunned, thinking, oh man, I need to block this, otherwise it's going to be like pretty bad. Since like Dorinthia would have like six cards in hand, and maybe if she like set up something really strong, we'll have like a hard time. Yeah, so I ended up giving my legs equipment and my headpiece equipment, and that puts us like in a really hard position. And yeah, so I come with the neck vengeance after that, and Dorinthia has like a lot of armor. She used the armor. I explained how like my armor equipment's block, but she still only blocked 7 damage, so I activated them, hoping she had like no reaction and wasn't baiting me. But apparently not. And the turn that was like the whole turn. Yeah. So here I block with an erase phase. I think erase phase is a card that shouldn't be in this matchup. I didn't thought this completely through. I would probably change it in the like in the deck list that I will like submit for you guys. This erase. There are a couple of cards that say your next warrior attack, but erase phase isn't like that good since it blocks only for two. In this case, it gives Dorinthia vigor, and I think Dorinthia isn't really playing like cards that says your next warrior attack is something else. Now Dorinthia attacks is unsheath. I know unsheath only says more than double, meaning it should have seven on the moment of attack. So if there's like any reaction, then it wouldn't be like applied to go again. Um, in this case, I was like pretty sure what my opponent had. It had to be like something in the reaction to give it go again. And after I played like I think I should have like really played my double flick flags at that point. But I want like to preserve some life, and but I still had like a card in arsenal, so it was like fine-ish. But I'm breaking a little bit since I had like way too many red cards. I'm just here trying like to block out my opponents. Especially then since I had like seven block with three cards because I have like no blue card to play, and my opponent reacts, so I need to react. Uh, but these turns have been like very powerful from Dorinthia. and especially now with the steel blade supremacy, I need like now that I actually have like decent turns, I need like to block, because otherwise Dorinthea is getting like a counter. Didn't really want it to block a lot, but the steel blade supremacy is a must block, I must say, since each hit is basically a draw one, and we don't really want to give Dorinthea draw ones, since you can just like arsenal them, convert them to vigor, or even like use the brave for bracers. I finally get like a stop from blocking, since my opponent had only a worse valor that got like easily blocked with my cards. But my hand wasn't like that great. I only had like the Pawn Gale. It's something that I haven't really been liking, the Pawn Gale. But there are not like a lot of cards with combo that we could actually play. There are probably like better cards to play instead of Pawn Gale. But in this case, it's like a necessary evil. I think it's not a card that we can play that good, but at least it has like good synergy with the Bittering Thorns, or if we manage like to get a hit on a Sick Vengeance, we can attack again with the sword and then finish with the Pound Gale. I mean, it has combo. That's all we need. Like we only want those kind of cards to block. These cards and this block twos haven't been like the greatest for me. I think that so the scars are awesome in certain matchups, but in other matchups aren't like that good. I think I may be going to be playing the 100 wins instead of the scars in certain matchups, especially since we're going to be having like soonish the full playset of the Winds of Eternity. So at that point, the 100 wins are going to gain like more value, since it's still two cards eight that also gives me like one card back. So that's like honestly pretty good for those kind of cards. So I ended up giving like my Blazing Jarroy in here. Didn't really like it, but didn't want it to give Dorinthea the counter, and I'm just trying to throw like more value at Dorinthea's face. But yeah, it's not looking that great. I'm far ahead in life, but I really feel pressure like all the time, especially since Dorinthia has always like this threat that could snowball. I remember pretty fondly one of my first proquests I play. A Dorinthia got out of hand and somehow managed to push like 27 damage with three cards because she was able to have like a good amount of counters. So that's always something to keep in mind. So we can see how like Dorinthia plays when we know how Dorinthia plays. In this case, I was pretty sure like she had the Glistening Steel Blade to search for to tutor for a card, and I just blocked three because Dorinthia hasn't go again right now. So I know if depending on what Dorinthia has, I can just like react with my favorite scene, and that was the case. So it gets like go again and agility on hits. But Dorite had like no more resources, meaning it was fine for us at the end since Dorite didn't gain like the counter. But the agility can be a little bit worrisome depending on how Dorite's cards looks, since it's already like one extra card for her turn basically. So I swing with with the race phase. We can see like race phase has basically almost nothing in this game. Yeah, it just gets blocked for three as value and swings with the worst valor. So I decided to give my opponent the first counter of the game, since my hand wasn't really good at blocking and I couldn't like play around a reaction. So, but I had good damage, so I pushed 12 damage and heal one plus sigil, meaning I heal four in total. And now I'm like cooking since I have 21 life ahead. But my opponent has a powerful turn, especially since I had like no reaction in my arsenal. So now I place a card that gives on hits one counter for to this Dawnblade, and it has Dominate and plus three, meaning it gets really massive. And now this turn is where things get out of control since I couldn't help myself to give like Dorinthia three counters since I couldn't really play around it and I had like no reactions. I just tried to block if I can and pushing with a flying kick, but the fridge is there, and now I get like a back to back dominate turn with an Iron Song response. That hurts a lot, I must say. And even though like I think it would be like better if Dorinthea like activates the leg equipment here to give like go again and to swing again. Uh, but yeah, so I, it was okay for me. I wanted like to try to push in damage to finish the game. But Dorinthea has like Steal the Fridge, and there comes another Steel Blade Supremacy, and that is the with the glints on top of the glistening is just too much, and it was honestly like a bit unlucky how like we lost on the comeback. I didn't really had like that some great turns when I had like too many two blocks, or the moments where I needed to block because otherwise I give Dorinthea the counter. Maybe I overrated the first counter of Dorinthea's if I had like a really gas hand. But not sure. I thought with the life lead we had, we would surely win, but didn't expect like that comeback after Dorinthea gets like three counters. I mean, it's kind of obvious, you know. If suddenly Dorinthea has one pitch for six damage that can like attack multiple times, it's rough. So at the end, Dorinthea attacks three times in that turn, and we just die. Like the Gleason Steel Supremacy is at the end like six value, and on hits draws. Yeah, it was game over at the end. Really unfortunate, I must say. I think it probably like misboarded, and there are better things to do. But yeah, I think yeah, I hope you learn from this matchup. Uh, you need like so to play against Dorinthia, you really need like to learn how to do it because you need to know like, what reactions to expect and what Dorinthia can do at this point. But yeah, I hope this help anyone that looks at it. The final round today is going to be against Victor. Victor is a gun hero and he plays for the long game. He has the clashing mechanic that gives him a lot of advantage, and if he loses, he can reroll the clash. Uh, Whenever he creates gold, he draws a card, so there are a couple of clashes that give him gold, meaning he gets some extra cards during the game. He can prepare some big turns with the Cast Homes card, since that card allows him to do a lot of my tokens, and if he combines that with Golden Sun, he can come for huge amounts of overpower damage, meaning we can't really block it if we want. And he has a lot of disruption cards, for example, Spinal Crush, meaning our Gorgon goes away for the turn. If it deals four more damage, we're usually going to block that with two cards and then swing back with two cards, so it should be okay. They're like other form cards, especially now with the release of Boulder Drop. Victor has like a really nice two card hand, and we can really block it only with one card, especially if it's a block three. We need at least a block four. Our loadout for Victor is going to be again the standard loadout, but I wanted to play the race phases since this way it might hit a seismic surge since seismic surge is only working guardian attacks, and it's like a quote unquote big attack, so we can maybe tie or win a clash against Victor. So round three is going to be against Victor, yet another hero we haven't played yet. This game was honestly one of my favorite games I had in the series so far. We were laughing so much about like all the things going on in the game. It was honestly super cool to see to like to play. I start and I kind of wanted to see if I can get like some clash cards out of Victor, just like to get them wasted, quote unquote. Since like this Trounce or this strength, Victor really wants like to draw an extra card and have like extra value, and I want like to see if I can waste it. It actually happened at the end, but it also gave Victor like a might, and it wasn't probably like the best of the changes. Nah, mm, I was pretty. No, it was okay. You know, I'm still pondering if it was like fine or not fine. But Victor only throws like hammer for five, so it was like whatever, and clashes and destroys the top card of my deck, which was a Sirens, and I got one life, so it was honestly a funny exchange. So last turn I just made like a block for value, and this turn I just try to swing with what I have. I have the sick vengeance, and it gets blocked with the test of iron grip. It takes like basically this between thorns away from me. It's between 4 and 5 extra damage that we lose because of that. Uh, but in theory, we could activate the kind of scar wraps and swing again with the weapon, meaning it was only between 3 or 4 value that we lose. But you can see because the camera angle isn't great today. I apologize for that as well. But Victor is playing quick dodge flexors, and that's like a perfect response for the kind of scar wraps, especially if Victor already blocks 4. So I can't really do that, meaning I just throw this pounding gale and pass my turn. Now Victor like isn't doing like that much, just makes a seismic and swings for 6. I take the 6, see the clash and lose it as well. Something funny is if for some reason we win a clash, Victor would mostly lose the game immediately, and that's why I really like Minas Grindstone. I do like cool things now with the Scar for Scar into a flying kick. I misplayed a little bit because I he took the first car instead of blocking it, so the second hadn't go again. So I just politely pointed me to that, and I just do like a taxi backsy. He takes command for 7. I can't block with. I think I had direct this point in my arsenal, and I really didn't want like to lose it. But sadly, it takes like 2 of the important cards in this matchup. So Amnesia is really good against things like the Visit to the Golden State because the card says the golds, and basically the gold lose the name gold, so gold is not gold if you catch my drill. I think it only gets the thing from the shield because the shield said this counts as gold but isn't named gold. But yeah, and also the neck benches. That's one of like the power cards in the deck since it's like the only disruption we have, like good disruption. But I had another one in hands, and my opponent has the trounce, and wins the trounce, draws a card, and now the neck vengeance. As we know, we always have to be worrisome about the flexors. But he blocks with the Guns of Iron Will. So the Guns of Iron Will are also another card we need to watch out. There are a lot of cards we need to watch out in this matchup. So the Gauntlet says next time an attack would gain power, it gains 1 less, meaning it basically disables the Okana Scarab's ability. So he's playing a deck fairly similar to the deck that won Balhar Manila with Peck Perfect, and I don't want like to block that Peck Perfect because I think one of the win conditions in this matchup is going to be probably the last ditch efforts, and I don't want to like randomly lose a last ditch effort to the Peck Perfect, and it's like way worse if we lose it like to the Peck Perfect that to the shield because the Peck is like multiple clashes, and it doesn't really matter if like Victor loses a card from top or not. So I just decided to take all of it and come back with all I had since apparently I had like a really good card, a hand to play like the full hand. Just like Scar, the Bittering Thorns, Edge of Autumn. I tried to hide the most I could the Sick Vengeance since I want like my opponent to block the previous attacks. In order for me like to get the kind of Scar wraps and an extra weapon swing that turn. My hand was once again full red. And he goes for Command and Conquer. I needed to block the Command and Conquer because I want to keep my arsenal and I can play anyway. So I lose the third Enact Vengeance. That hurts, especially since now I get like to keep a sigil and an erase phase. So I just swing for 1 to see if my opponent like blocks that or he's waiting like a 0 for 4 or something else. But I just activate my sigil and pass. In response, he has a cool turn. What he has the cast homes, creating some mites, and plays one of like the new cards from the set. And I had like double the reacts from Arsenal, so it was pretty clean block. And he asked sheepishly, "Man, you didn't want me to lose my Arsenal because he has shit in the Arsenal, and I know it." That's a problem sometimes with Victor. You get like an extra blue that you don't really want, and cards like this fault line, I think it's called. It's like decent for that. Yeah. So, not really that sure why my opponent decided to block this moment as the test of iron, like the test of strength. Maybe he really wanted like to have to play the test, then draw a card, then block with the card in hand, and the test of iron grip, the seven attack. Probably maybe that's why he did like that play, since he know he's going to be far ahead in cards, and if he can like put me away from Arsenal, it's going to be like pretty good for him. But he lost the clash twice, so I got like a free gold, which it has some utilities. So especially if I'm like one card away from the full empty deck, my opponent, so I can activate the gold, draw a card, and have like the last ditch effort alive. Yeah. So on the second attack, he blocks with the clash iron grip. But I had my sigil, so I just sigiled and outplayed the clash. So the follow up for the cast homes is luckily not like something like a command pummel, but in this case just a golden sun. I think I had like 13 damage, but I had a direct, so I just block it and everything is good. My turn, I don't have like a great turn, just throw the erase phase, but erase phase is decent against the already existing seismic surge. So something like a cost 4 attack isn't on the board if it hits. But the follow up is perfect that I had to block this time. It's not like a big block, so he wouldn't take like a lot of cards from my deck, but just a small block, and we tie the clash, meaning nothing happens. And yeah, so in my turn, my opponent clashes again. He want like to win the clash, but I still have the 6 power in the top and the thunk. So he's just sad about that. That he doesn't get like any free value, and at the end he just blocks with the sync and the clash. But yeah, I basically that I think it was a sirens. Won like 3 clashes, so that's honestly really unlucky for Victor. I remember at last words, I had also some tough moments clashing with Victor. Some games that I just lost because my clash didn't work on my side. But that's always the downside of playing Victor, losing clashes. So now we gain tempo back, able to block the hammer with flick flag and just throwing some attacks. The next turn just repeats itself. I just block the hammer with a reaction and throw some attack. This Bittering Thorns been pretty good in pushing damage. Sadly, we couldn't like use the last one because of the test fire grip. But right now, I feel confident. I think I'm like on the driver's seat in terms of that life wise. I'm sorry if you can like see the life in that case, my life. And I'm also like ahead. Sorry, I'm behind in deck size, but I know if I'm able like to get to certain points in the game, as long as I don't get like any hard disruption, I will be winning with the last ditch efforts. As long as like the my opponent has like a lot of life in that moment. So this Castles hasn't haven't been like that impressive for him. Uh, Only for 3 both times. It is like the best. It's pretty good, but it's not great. You know, if you know what I mean. He was lucky to do like another blue or the spinal and send the spinal, but if since I had like good cards enough to block, I just swing. And then the follow up this time it is the command and conquer. But I couldn't do anything against it. I have my equipment still, but the card in arsenal is a scar for scar. Sadly, I need like to take the command in order to get a scar live. So I just decided to lose the scar and also like try to block one card in my hand for value. Uh, and just keep playing the game with what I have. Where I was having like a lot of fun in the game, so I wasn't really tracking the pitch deck for both of us. But I knew his first cast pitch was the test of Iron Grip, and right now it showed its ugly head once again, and with a thunk, meaning he gets like a lot of mites out of that and makes me discard my finisher. I feel pretty sad about that, but there's nothing I could do besides winning the clashes. A spinal for 11 is, of course, not that good with two floating, suspiciously two floating. But I think my opponent just forgot to activate the plating since he had like no cards to play like the pommel. So I just block for 6, play a Sigil Arsenal, and try to set up for next turn. Since we are right now on the pitch attack, it's where Victor has mostly only blue attacks. So the blue attacks aren't like the best attacks. They're mostly just fodder for the hammer. Uh, unless Victor got like some good red attacks sent to the bottom via trance or something like that, he won't be having like that much power. So it's fairly lucky for me. In this case, he swings the hammer and loses the hammer to a trance. He needs to reclash, and he's like starving on gold. So I just try to keep pushing with like the value I have, since I had like a couple of good cards stacked to the bottom, like some 2 for 6 attacks. So now this is the second to last turn. The Seek Vengeance in blue are pretty decent, since I know I can like always react on them, giving them +1, mean 0 for 3. Go again in blue. It's not too shabby. I count my deck and I see I have like one card. Like I go perfectly to 0 after a turn, so I just choose to correct a goal to draw a card, like to have an extra weapon attack this turn, and finishing with a sirens. So Victor has only the hammer, but I had jokes on you. I have no deck, meaning he can't win like anything else, but he can win like a thunk, gain like an extra might or something like that. But yeah, that's it's okay. He can get an extra might. There's not going to be next turn. Now for the turn that everyone has been waiting for, the last turn. I had clean 0 cards in deck, and I had my 2 last efforts on top of a fly kick, so I am prepared. I start swinging with my weapon. He trounces and loses like the clashes, and I come with the last ditch effort and finish with flying kick. Uh, my opponent was a bit sad because of like the misses there, but I think if he wins, I can still come with the last ditch effort for 8 damage, and that would be like a clean death if he like blocks that. I think the way to survive this would be probably to block with a trounce on the second attack, win the clashes, and then block again with that. I think in that case, if I throw everything I had, would be 1 + 8 +9 +8, so 18 damage, and he would be able to block 15 damage out of that, and he would survive at 2. And probably, like, my next turn would be just I don't know, like, weapon into small attack, and he has to give me only the 1 card, and then he swings with like 8 blue card, and I just die. But also looking at that, I had like enough armor, so I think it was probably fine. Some clashes just didn't went on Victor's way. I think if Victor is like a bit more lucky, the game would be way harder. But yeah, it was honestly a really fun game. Shout out to Timo. I really enjoyed the game with him. But yeah, see you next week for the games. All right, so worst week so far, 1 and 2. Just some Super Slam things. We saw the light up the leaps today. Was pretty annoying to play against. The Dory Dory was a bit unlucky because she didn't have like the new card. I think the new card would have been also terrible for us if we like see the amount of counter story he got on the sword. And I think Victor wasn't rocking like any of the new cards. I think Victor didn't really got a lot of new cards, especially even though it's like a garden set, but eh, not that much love for Victor, rather for his brother. Otherwise, it's a bit sad that we break like the streak, 8 weeks in a row finals, and now we just go 1 and 2, play into the like the lower bracket, and basically play a loser final, so to speak. At least we didn't go 0-3. The last ditch efforts were pretty good in that case, and some luck and clean gameplay. Yeah, let's see how next week goes. More Super Slam things. Maybe we get to play against some new heroes. or maybe we get to play against like the new boss of KO. But yeah, who knows? Let's see. See you on the next week for Flash of Blood on a budget.